Hi you guys, it's Amanda with Healthy House on the Block, and I am here with another weekly video and blog on creating an indoor environment that supports your health and wellness. This week we're going to take a look at the everyday items that we use on a consistent basis. We're going to talk about why these items are so important and why the ingredients and materials matter so much to our health and wellness. I'm going to take you through some slides that break down this week's blog post into a video format. If you're someone who really likes to read the blog and look at different things that I'm referencing and linking to, then you can go to my blog post link. It is at the bottom of the video profile, where you'll find the same information, but you can read it and digest it at your own speed. Otherwise, if you're more of a video person, let's get started. So have you ever thought about all the items that you use and come in contact with on a daily basis? When I started making a list in my head, it started with just kind of like my morning routine and the everyday items that I was using on my skin and hair. So at first, I thought my list was pretty fantastic, very few everyday items, and most of them were totally clean products with great ingredients. But then I realized I wasn't really covering everything. I started to think about the items I touched multiple times a day and used, things like my towels, my dishes, my silverware, my sheets and mattress. And suddenly it became really overwhelming. I had come to the conclusion that in one single day, I was using way more items than I realized. And that's kind of the world we live in, isn't it? We have a lot of things and we use a lot of items. So after creating this little mental list of items I used on a daily basis, I can understand why there is such a shift towards reducing what we have in our homes and creating a more minimalist lifestyle. And I have to be pretty okay with what I use every day because over time, I've consolidated and reduced the number of things that I use. But for me, I always like to see if there's a way I could change what I'm doing. And the best way I know to start with making a change is by analyzing what I'm currently doing. From there, I see if there's any places I can adjust my habits and I move forward. So let's take a look at why I choose to focus on everyday items first. You might be wondering why anyone would ever make this crazy list of everyday items that they use. But when I start to look at ways I can improve my life to reduce as many toxins as I can, I start to look at a few key factors. So first, I tend to look at the items that are largest in my home. This is often things like flooring and furniture, and these products are very large in surface area and often have the most potential for off-gassing. However, the problem is that often these items are expensive to replace and require a lot of time and planning as well. So then the next thing I look at is what I'm using or coming into contact with the most throughout the day. There are certain products and materials that I'm exposing myself to consistently on a daily basis or multiple times throughout the day, and this means that there's also a potential for toxin exposure. The problem with a lot of toxins is that we're coming into contact with them so often that our bodies aren't getting a break from them. This is true of many well-known offenders like phthalates, formaldehyde, and flame retardants. These toxins, when we're constantly exposed, can build up in the body, and this is when we start to talk about body burden. So body burden is an overloading that happens in our system, and ultimately it affects big areas like our immune function and our hormone regulation. These things are what keep our bodies feeling good on a regular basis and allow us to fight off viruses and bacteria that we come into contact with. So let's talk about the 3 ways that we are exposed to toxins in our home when we're talking about replacing these items. First, let's talk about what goes in our body. This is the food we eat, and it's also what we store our food in. This is a way that we can expose ourselves to unnecessary toxins. I mentioned this a few weeks ago, but I'm constantly learning so much about food and nourishing my family in a way that incorporates whole foods and less of the unknown. I'm also learning about how to shop for produce and meats to cut down on toxin exposure. The plates we eat off of and the way we store our food also plays a role in the toxins we're exposing ourselves to. In some instances, warmed up plastic, either by food or by a microwave, can leach plastic toxins into the food we eat. Many plastics over time become scratched, which can then release bits of plastic into our food as well. Cooking with pots and pans containing toxins is another way that we expose ourselves to unnecessary toxins. The way we cook and store our food is often just as important as the food itself that we've so cautiously chosen. Ingesting toxins is a direct route to the bloodstream where it can disperse throughout the body. The second way is what goes on our bodies. Our skin is our largest organ and absorbs the products we put on it and the clothing we wear. Toxins that are absorbed by our skin are often found in beauty products, bedding, clothing, and personal care products. A lot of times, these are toxins that we're exposing ourselves to with our everyday items. By carefully selecting laundry detergents that use clean ingredients and choosing organic clothing and bedding, you can eliminate all kinds of toxins that can be absorbed, such as pesticides, fragrance toxins, and other chemicals. You can also be extremely conscious about the products you put on your skin while bathing and with daily routines. I think the clean ingredient, everyday items I use on my skin have had a huge impact on reducing the toxins that I come in contact with on a consistent basis. The last way is what surrounds our bodies. This is the environment around us. We inhale toxic materials and products that are off-gassing constantly. Volatile organic compounds, or VOCs, are everywhere, even naturally occurring outside. But when we don't have ways for them to escape our home, they build up and we allow them to constantly surround our bodies. The first step is to reduce the number of toxins that are in our home, and the second step is to allow ways for toxins to exit our home on a regular basis. This two-step approach will help reduce the amount of toxins that you have and that stay inside your home. It's a really important way to reduce the toxins that surround your body. So before I share your download with you, I want to take a look at some of the daily habits that we can do to promote a healthy home. The first is to increase our air exchanges. Increasing the amount of air that is coming in and completely exchanging your toxin-filled indoor air is one of the best ways to improve your indoor air quality. Just a note about this, you'll want to make sure that your outdoor air quality is safe before you open your windows. The goal here is to allow the indoor air to be pushed outside while we bring in fresh air at the same time. Once your home completely exchanges its indoor air with outside air, you've completed one air exchange. Homes used to have natural air exchanges through small cracks and leaks in the home, but our houses now are just so energy efficient that we have to help our houses out with this one. The second way is to reduce the humidity levels inside. High humidity levels are hard on the environment in your home. It creates a perfect environment for mold and mildew, which are both toxic to our bodies and health. High humidity levels also increase the rate of off-gassing from VOCs. By lowering your indoor air's humidity levels, you make it more difficult for mold and mildew to grow, and you also stop the reproduction of dust mites. And with a lower humidity level inside, between 35% and 40%, you can reduce the rate of VOCs off-gassing. Most of us have higher indoor humidity, and so we need to dry it out. Dry out our home a bit. You can do this by avoiding overwatering plants and line drying your laundry inside. You can also do it with cooking with lids and running vented fans during meal times and cooking. The last way is to minimize toxic house dust. Dust has been shown to contain toxins such as flame retardants, phthalates, chemicals, and pesticides. All of these toxins were created with the intent to last for a very long time. And once the tiny particles are in your house dust, they'll be there until you actually remove them. By creating a plan to not only prevent dust from getting in, but also a plan to remove unwanted dust inside your home, you can reduce a whole lot of toxins. To avoid toxic dust, create a no-shoe policy inside your home. This will help with toxins being tracked inside. You can also get into a habit of dusting on a regular basis. Dusting your home surfaces with a damp cloth, using a vacuum with a HEPA filter, and wet mopping your floors are all ways that you can get rid of dust at home. Also, be sure to change your filters on a regular basis, and you can even set a reminder on your phone to make sure that it doesn't get missed. Finally, you can utilize an air purifier to help reduce particles in the air. And you can head to my website to get the link for the Medify Air, which is what I use. And you can also use coupon code HHOTB15 for $15 off. So let's take a look at the master list of healthy swaps. This is this week's download that you can get if you follow the link to my blog post, and you can download it there. I have it broken down into 3 different areas. So the first is going to be morning routines, and you can go through and add your own items. There's a little spot on each checklist where you have blanks that you can add your own. I share with you what you need to look for and what you should avoid, as well as some of the materials that we really want to focus on. And we do everything from your personal care products to textiles to your meals, because we are touching plates and silverware constantly. And so we'll take a look at the next few pages of this. So this would be your daytime items, and it's going to be a little different for everybody. And so, like I said, you can customize this, but the general ideas that most of us use are there, and the general avoidance and materials to look for are also there. And here's our last page, which is evening routines. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today and looking at our everyday items. I hope that you were able to get some information from this that can help you in your own day-to-day life. I would love it if you would subscribe to my channel and check out my new videos that come up every week. We always cover a different topic or a tip on how to create an indoor environment at home that supports your health and wellness. I'll be back next week with another Healthy House tip.